What's up everybody, Matt Maran here, and today I'm making the big announcement that we are getting rid of our 2022 Mustang Mach-E Premium. And in this video I'll explain why, but it's actually a pretty simple thing. It just comes down to the tax credit. So the tax credit is ending here on September 30th. We really wanted to get another EV. We are not getting another Mach-E. I will explain why in our reveal video of the other car, but I'm just going to do a little wrap up here of our impressions after about 3 years of owning this Mach-E, and overall it was a really nice experience with a few little complaints that we'll mention here in this video. But yeah, it really just came down to wanting to make sure we get another EV before that tax credit expires, we actually were thinking about getting another Mach-E, but the deals just weren't very good. I mean, they're better than they were when we got this back in 2022. We are reducing our car payments significantly with the new vehicle, but there's just some nicer stuff you can get these days for the same money that Ford wants these days for leases on 2025 Mach-Es. So anyway, let's talk about the vehicle. We'll do a little walk around here and I'll give all my thoughts after 3 years of ownership. All right, so one last look at the Mach-E here. So one good thing is, although the resale value plummeted over the past few years here, going from being a $50,000 car to now being worth about 26 to 28 and a half on a good day, the resale values did rebound, and as recently as last year this thing was worth like 20 grand, and it's now since rebounded very nicely. So it's kind of all over the place. We did actually do the Ford options plan, which is a purchase. So that was the way you got the tax credit back in 2022, is you had to buy it. So we bought it, but Ford did this options plan where it's a balloon finance, where you are able to either buy it out at the end or turn it in at the end, just like a lease. But it was basically a lease. It was designed just for the way the tax laws were back then. Yeah, because it's not an actual lease and it's a purchase, we can get out of it very easily. It's the same as trading in any other car that you have financed, where as long as you pay it off, they don't care what you do with it. And so thankfully it just got to a point, luckily here, where this summer the resale value, the trade-in value, ended up equaling the payoff that we had on the vehicle. And so yeah, just the stars aligned here to get out of this a year early. We were supposed to keep it another year, but again, we were accelerated by that tax credit going away here. Otherwise we would have kept it probably, even though the deals are very good right now and I want to cash in while the getting's good. But yeah, definitely now on that pressure of doing something here really soon. So we are going to be revealing a new car here very, very shortly. But as far as the last few little things I mentioned, my big gripe with these vehicles was the rear rotors, and that is something that still continues to plague this vehicle. So I talked about this in my yearly updates on this vehicle several times now, but just a quick cliff notes is that the rear rotors score themselves if you don't drive the car enough. And they already were replaced once under warranty, and then we drove it home and it literally came home scored again. We replaced the pads, replaced the rotors, did everything at the same time. It just didn't matter. Those rotors always were scraped up, and every time you would use the friction brakes, you would hear like a slight grinding sound, and just didn't feel very good for a newish car to just feel like it had crappy brakes. I mean, it was totally safe and totally drove fine, and that's why we just kind of gave up on it and just left it. But that's a design flaw that Ford continues to refuse to fix. Most other car companies have figured out the easy fix is just have software that drags that brake every so often, just ever so slightly, so that you clean off that pad and that rotor. Ford, for some reason, hasn't implemented that same common sense change, and so as a result, the rear rotors on these things can go to crap if you don't drive them enough. And this just didn't get driven a ton. We're at 19,000 miles after 3 years of owning this thing. And so that's the one thing that we didn't love. The other thing I didn't love was the tire wear. So if you remember last winter here, I said at 15,000 miles, this thing needed new tires. Now, it seems like it's hit or miss with Mach-Es. Some Mach-Es have tires that last 40,000 miles. Other people do report, their tires needing to be replaced around 15,000 or so. And so thankfully, the people at Bridgestone hooked me up with the new Turanza EVs that we've been able to test out here for about 8 or 9 months now. And overall, I've really been happy with them. So a little follow-up on that from my video last year. They've performed flawlessly. They seem like they've worn very well. They also seem to hold pressure better than the Michelins that I had to kind of keep tabs on a little bit more. These have held their pressure very well. And for me, the real nice improvement is that there's no reduction in range, there's no reduction in efficiency. It's just as quiet of a tire, but the grip is so much better. It was a huge handling upgrade going to these from the Michelin Primacy, I believe, tires that they had on these previously just were not as good. So Bridgestone clearly better than the Michelin here in this application in particular. And so really still highly recommend the Bridgestones. I think it's a great replacement tire if you're looking for a new one. I would not go back to OEM tires on these things ever. There's probably some other good options too, but just stay away from the OEMs. They're just not good in my opinion. So that's really the main two things that we had to complain about. But I mean, otherwise, there's nothing to really talk about here. After 3 years, it's just been an uneventful, low cost thing. We always charge it at home. I think I can count on one hand how many times we fast charged it. We never really ever had to worry about that or use that. It did great on the couple of road trips we did take it on. It's just been an uneventful ownership experience. And that's kind of the best compliment. I know it doesn't make for great content, doesn't make for exciting videos, but at the end of the day, that's just the consensus here is that it just did everything we asked of it here for the past 3 years. It's been a really good car, honestly. And checking out the interior one last time here, that has also held up really well too. But the one other little complaint here that Beth had, she didn't want to bother being in this video because she didn't really have anything to add. She just said, it was good, it was fine, she did really grow to enjoy it, and had no real complaints aside from the windshield wipers. The auto wipers in this vehicle suck. And she just hated the fact that it would either be one extreme or the other, where auto wipers would either go too much or they wouldn't go enough. And she always had to manually mess with them. And so not good auto wipers. That was, I think, her biggest frustration, which shows again how good this car is, that is the biggest thing she had to complain about. The one other little complaint I have is that we just have this, new update in the past 2 weeks here, where now you have no percentage for the battery. You just have this bar. And this has been a huge complaint that I've had on a variety of other vehicles, that GM in particular doesn't like showing you battery percentage, and now Ford has joined the club. And so I'm getting rid of this thing at just the right time, because I really like seeing a numerical percentage of how much range I have, and you don't have that here. And so that's really annoying. That's another reason why, I'm happy. I mean, obviously I could live with it, but it's just one other funny coincidence that as soon as we're getting ready to get rid of this vehicle, they do one final thing that is, the wrong direction in my opinion. But otherwise, screen's been fine. Everything's worked really well. The one final thing I will add is that another reason why we are not getting another Mach-E is the fact that this sloping roofline is really cool, and it looks, cool, and is, a nice design touch, but it does make it a little tricky with larger kids, and our daughter's 4 now. This roof kind of sloping down, it sometimes would be a little tricky getting her out of here if she's sleeping, for example, or even when she's climbing out herself. We are looking for something that's just got a little bit of a bigger opening, because this is just a little too racy. Typically you have a nice boxier crossover kind of shape that would give you a lot more space here, and this just doesn't have quite as much. Apologies, it's dirty back here. Again, this is just the family runaround car. But yeah, that's really the only thing. But otherwise, yeah, it's been really good. The regular standard range battery has been fine for us in our usage case. About 222 miles of range or so. Been completely fine, and yeah, I'm just really happy. And I have to commend Ford, because for a first attempt at an electric vehicle in mass production, aside from Focus Electric, this is really impressive. This is the second model year, but the fact that, there haven't been a lot of bugs. I know some other people have had bad luck with Mach-E's, but thankfully we have not. And so maybe it's just good luck, or maybe, it just, I think they did a really good job on these, I think, is really the bottom line. And if the deals were better, we would have totally gotten another one of these. We almost were kind of on that path until I started cross shopping and seeing what else is out there for much better money. And so yeah, but if you are considering one of these, I highly recommend them. They are Yeah, just really, really good cars in my opinion. So yeah, that's about it for the wrap up here on the Mach-E. And yeah, if you have any questions about these though, feel free to ask them in the comments below. More than happy to give you guys any extra info you might be wondering about these if you're considering one for yourself. They're fantastic value on the used market now, under $30,000 all day long for a really nice car. Yeah, so anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Stay tuned and subscribe to see what we get next, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.